Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm here recording the audiobook for The Buddhas of Boston Sports, How Bill Belichick Ended the Opioid Crisis, by me, Andrew Brown. I wrote this book. It's about my life in Buddhism. I didn't use AI for it. I barely edited it. Well, I paid someone to edit it, but I barely had them change it because I wanted to maintain the tone of it and keep all the information that I had in there. I thought about using AI to record this part of it, but I decided to just read it myself because I'm low budget, and you know how people like vinyl for that nice warm feeling? If it's my own voice, you're going to get that nice warm feeling of my breath in this book, okay? And like I said, low budget, so you're going to get all the burps and farts and clicks and cringes as I read this because I get tripped up on my words because I probably could have wrote it better or I could have edited it better. And sometimes when I see the way it came out, I cringe a little bit, but it's pretty good. I think you guys will like it. Here is the back cover. Bakataro has a message for you. Having grown up in New England from a broken home, he has struggled with addiction of all kinds and will show how Buddhism can help overcome any obstacles you may face. Learn how to recognize the karma in your life and how to change it. After listening to Bill Belichick after Patriots' losses, accepting full responsibility for his coaching and always vowing to do better, it began to sound very Buddhist-like in approach. Never comparing teams and taking each game as a whole new experience is a way to look at every day as a new, unique experience. Bakataro was born in 1976, the year of the fire dragon, and he discusses the fire karma in his life and the technological revolution he has witnessed. From going to Buddhist meetings as a child and watching Michael Jackson's Thriller on VCR tapes and playing Atari 2600 and moving on to the Nintendo Entertainment System, playing everything from Legend of Zelda to Castlevania to Street Fighter II to Mortal Kombat, and his early sports memories from the Patriots versus the Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl, the Celtics with Larry Bird, or Cam Neely and the Bruins, or the Red Sox blowing the World Series to the Mets, and how the Montreal Canadiens have owned the Bruins like the Yankees own the Red Sox. He will discuss how cocaine and fentanyl became part of his daily routine and the current drug scene. He will discuss how he and his mother use Nichiren Buddhism and by chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo can change your karma and help you become happy in this lifetime and lifetimes to come. He will explain Buddhism in his own entertaining style, using his own experiences and insight. He has lived such a fucked up life on full display for 2020, but he will teach you how to become enlightened and how he turned his rock bottom into #ending the opioid crisis. This is truly the right message for the age, just like Nichiren Daishonin brought this to the common people of Japan in the 13th century to save Japan from erroneous teachings and save Japan from the Mongol fleet with the divine typhoon. Bakataro has family karma that goes all the way back to the Mayflower when they made America, and he has been reborn in the perfect time of 1976, the bicentennial, with the perfect combination of abuse, drugs, sports, video games, and rehab to lead him to this point. To teach the secrets of enlightenment to everyone. Your job here on Earth is to be happy, so do your job. See what I mean about the cringe shit? See how it goes. Introduction. 2017. Holy shit, what a year. It began with Donald Trump replacing Barack Obama in the White House, intending to make America great again. The New England Patriots had the greatest comeback in football history, let alone Super Bowl history, against the Atlanta Falcons and former Boston College quarterback Matt Ryan. They were down by 25 points. The actual score is hard to say without feeling like I'm running it into the ground. It was 28-3. That was almost halfway through the third quarter. A total of 23 minutes and 31 seconds left in regulation, and this one, wait for it, was the first Super Bowl to go into overtime. It was the 51st Super Bowl, Roman numerals LI. Patriot CEO Robert Kraft after the game said it was unequivocally the sweetest. And why was it unequivocally the sweetest? Well, for one, Patriots quarterback Tom Brady was suspended the first 4 games over Deflategate, the supposed scandal in 2015 that honestly was just a bullshit charge over 2 PSI, pounds per square inch, in a football. So it was a little karmic revenge by Brady, because TB12 was 39 at the time, and he had 4 fewer games that year than Matt Ryan. Second was the probability of being down by 25 points with a 0.3% chance of winning in the third quarter and overcoming those odds. Third, this was Tom Brady's 7th Super Bowl appearance, and the Patriots' 9th overall, and the 5th Super Bowl championship, effectively completing TB12's very own Infinity Gauntlet. The Patriots had won 2 years prior in Super Bowl 49 against the Seattle Seahawks and former New England coach Pete Carroll. What other big sporting event happened? The Chicago Cubs won the World Series, breaking their 107-year drought. Their president of baseball operations was Theo Epstein, who greatly contributed to ending the Red Sox 86-year drought. The Cubs ace was former Red Sox pitcher John Lester, cancer survivor, and the connections to Boston were through Theo Epstein, general manager Jed Hoyer, players John Lester, John Lackey, David Ross, the hard luck playoff losses, and the bullshit curse. In 2003, the Cubs fans must have felt cursed when that fan interfered in Game 6 of the National League Championship Series and dropped the ball. And the Red Sox curse hit them that year when Grady Little left Pedro Martinez in just an inning too long against the Yankees, and the Yankees crushed their soul in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. These strange coincidences or karmic connections are intriguing to me, and as a practicing Buddhist, I find that nothing is coincidence, but it's all just the cosmic phenomenon of cause and effect. Sports is a great training for your life, a place to learn the value of teamwork, usually as a youth. And in sports, you have a winner and a loser. It's cut and dry. There are multitudes of statistics to quantify any activity players do that's considered valuable. There's only one champion per league per year. To non-sports fans, winning a Super Bowl might not seem like much. It's just an overhyped sporting event. But it's really beneficial for the whole region the team is in. The playoff run leading up to the event injects a certain energy into both teams' hometowns. And then comes the elation of winning or the heartbreak of defeat. In Boston, we've experienced it all. But in 2017, it was something else. Buddhism is about winning and losing, and it's up to you how much to compete. So, you're the Buddha, and now that you know you're a Buddha, you can start making the causes to experience the winning in your daily life. In Do Your Job, Part 2, a film about the Patriots' journey to Super Bowl 51, Patriots general manager Bill Belichick emphasizes how they would put in over 120 practices, 120 causes that year. A major cause they made was the third 2-point conversion play that the Patriots worked on during the playoffs, and in the Super Bowl, they needed that third 2-point package because they needed every play to make history. You can actually see the direct causes the Patriots are putting in. And if they did lose, it's Bill Belichick saying he needs to coach better. It's Tom Brady saying he needs to execute better. They take the personal responsibility for what they can be responsible for. And during Super Bowl 51, Julian Edelman was saying during halftime, "It's going to be a great story. Don't worry, it's a great story," with full confidence that they were going to win. And it wasn't just him. Nobody on the Patriots side was panicking. They had a certain serenity about them. They tapped into their Buddha nature, and they played like they turned on God mode, and they did their job, and they won the game. It took a ton of great plays, including our own miracle Edelman catch, to win the coin toss in overtime. The Patriots handled it with incredible patience, and Bill Belichick's Buddhahood was beaming. Bakataro. There's a die-hard fan, a somewhat fictionalized character representation called Bakataro. It means foolish idiot in Japanese and is loosely based on the author. We call him Bakatari, or asshole, in Japanese, when he's doing some especially dumb shit. Some of the people he meets and interacts with in this work are real. Some have had their names changed, twice even, or all the names have been generated by a random name generator. That's why some may not fit the character. Some are named after fruits and vegetables. If I could use emojis, I would. Nothing is fabricated, but Bakataro is a fictionalized representation of me. Got it? Cool. There's I, the author, Bakataro Bakatari, my foolish alter ego. I'm not trying to get anyone indicted. I'm not trying to shame anyone. If anything, it's Bakatari who's the shameless fucking animal, but he has something to tell you. And Bakataro's mom, Mama-san, we'll call her, is from Japan. His father, Brownie, is from Carver, Massachusetts. Brownie's family has 4 relatives who came to North America on the Mayflower. Mama-san's uncle was Masao Koga, a very famous composer in Japan. Bakataro feels like he should be dead, and he only survived to tell you the story of how to change your karma and change the karma of America and the world, just like his family has done since the beginning. So, shameful honesty. During that Patriots game, Bakataro was at home freaking out. He had sent his guest home in the 3rd quarter. He was so pissed off. He was also high as fuck, speedballing fentanyl and cocaine at the time, and the game was really killing his buzz. His friend from high school, Robert Bobby Perry, we'll call him BP, had been hanging out for the Super Bowl because they had 1.5 grams of coke and 3 grams of fentanyl. Like, not even heroin mixed with fentanyl, but fentanyl with just some kind of cut on it. Baka didn't like shooting up. It was too much work, and the risk was too much. At the time, February 2017, he was a raging drug addict, having snorted cocaine for more than 20 years and indulged in the opioid addiction on and off, more on than off, for the last decade. Why is he revealing this? Wasn't this supposed to be about Buddhism in Boston? This guy's a fucking mess. Well, no doubt he was at the time, but he had no idea of the train wreck to come. He didn't care about the causes he was instigating, and he was not paying any attention to the effects that were manifesting. It was great to see the Patriots win that great game, and that was the joy in his life, week to week, chasing drugs, watching sports, while Boston was winning games. Like any drug addict or alcoholic, he would have to hit the proverbial rock bottom before anything would change. The high of winning a Super Bowl wears off after the parade, right? Things were looking good for Boston sports after the Super Bowl. The Red Sox traded for Chris Sale, a top-of-the-rotation ace-type pitcher, so the prospect of baseball was looking good. The Celtics were winning, and Bakatari was a high-functioning drug addict, or so he thought. But on February 28th, he fell asleep at the wheel and split a telephone pole and crashed into a tree. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and he was saved by his airbag. He had only got a couple stitches above his eyebrow. He was driving a 2007 Ford F-150, and the Wareham Fire Department had to use the jaws of life to cut him out. The truck was totaled, and he is so thankful he didn't hurt anyone else. If he ever gets into acting and needs to cry on demand, he'll just think about this and what might have happened. It's dangerous shit, Look at all the people getting run over and all these hit and runs that are happening. You will learn the specifics of how fucked up he is as we go on. This is about Buddhism, I promise, and how to turn bad actions and bad causes into something positive. I'm certainly not minimizing what causes he was making. That was a bad situation. But the very next day, he totaled his roommate's car by putting her 2009 Toyota Matrix on top of a guardrail. Yes, he totaled her car the very next day. He was on his way to Taunton to go meet his buddy, BP, and hook up because he couldn't do that the day before. He remembers Sunshine, his roommate, telling him on the phone and reminding him to buckle up. A minute later, getting on Route 495, off of Route 28 in Wareham, all of a sudden he was on top of the guardrail screaming, "What the fuck happened?" Massachusetts State Police showed up and he couldn't explain why he hit the guardrail. He had no recollection. They took his driver's license for being an immediate threat, and the police brought him home instead of the hospital. He didn't feel like he was injured, but he was angry. He yelled to Sunshine that, "I'm sorry, I did it again, I ruined your car," and then he tried killing himself by putting a plastic bag over his head and choking himself out. I know it's a weak attempt, but he probably should have just hung himself if Sunshine hadn't stepped in. He did have a noose in his closet for whatever reason. So the Wareham police showed up quickly, and one of the patrolmen was an officer, Mr. Corner, a former classmate of Bucka, who he'd gone to high school with, played sports with, and track, and those were glory days, And it was oddly comforting having somebody he knew talk him out of whatever he was going through. and get him to Toby Hospital, coincidentally the same hospital he was born in. He was really mean at the time, swearing at everyone, including the poor nurses. His world seemed to collapse on him, and he couldn't see anything beyond, dying. So he was restrained, given some sort of shot in the belly, and woke up completely disorientated at Arbor Fuller Psychiatric Hospital. So yeah, totaling 2 vehicles back to back, waking up in a psych hospital. What did he do? What about his job? He'd worked for a company called Sketchy Etchy as a Class A tool and die maker. Impressed? He had worked for that company since January 1997. It was a well-paying, technically skilled position. Fortunately, the episode is covered under the Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA. And from the psych ward, he entered rehab, part of the hospital, and was out of work for roughly 3 weeks. He'd been having trouble at work partly because of the drug problem, along with 20 years of accumulated karma and baggage. He had had gastric sleeve surgery in 2015, and he had weighed 315 pounds with drug problems. And during that time, he felt like he experienced a heart attack during a 5-day coke binge. He lost 125 pounds and felt like a different person, but he still had all this accumulated karma built up at work over the last score. See what I did there? Score, 20 years at work, Boston sports. We're going to be using puns like that and hopefully some sharp wit to keep this guy's degenerate life entertaining. Coworkers would often refer to him as Fat Asshole, or arrange the keys on his keyboard to read Fat Loser, or glue the buttons on his calculator several times. Typical pranks, I guess. Bullying, if you want to say it, I don't know. You can't say it was completely undeserved. He started there at an entry-level position and worked his way up, and he could do anything on a computer pretty much better than anyone in the room. And toes might have been stepped on. Bacataro wasn't the smartest guy in the room, but he certainly acted like it. Yeah, some were better than him on, the miller or the lathe. They were seasoned tradesmen, but he was the only one that could really do the 3D stuff, like the SolidWorks or the 3D printer, or run the 3-axis CNC miller. You could learn any of the software in hours. So when you're at the top of your game, hate is going to hate. Look no further than the shade thrown at Tom Brady and the Patriots. To be honest, Bacataro kind of loved the hate thrown at him because, to his mind, it meant he was doing the right thing, and he used it as fuel to not only win, but to run up the score. He's not trying to cry victim here. Buddhism teaches that your environment is a reflection of you. Why was his environment such shit then? It's hard to see your own behavior without actually looking at yourself. We'll be learning about that by discussing the Nichiren school of Buddhism. It was founded by Nichiren Daishonin, a 13th century monk. He also created the Gohonzon, which is a scroll that practicing Buddhists keep in their house in its own special box called a Butsudan. And we recite 2 chapters of the Lotus Sutra and chant in front of it twice a day. This is our daily practice of Gongyo. Nichiren created the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, literally translated as devotion to the mystic law cause and effect through sound. The Lotus Sutra was written by the historical Buddha, Siddhartha Buddha, or Gautama Buddha, and in the sutra, it's revealed that anyone has the Buddha nature within them. They just need to unlock it. To help learn the modern strategy of the Lotus Sutra, Bacataro belonged to the Soka Gakkai International, a movement led by Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, who is his mentor, or coach, if you will. So, in the summer of 2017, the Bruins fired their coach, Claude Julien, the greatest Bruins coach I had ever witnessed. He coached the hockey team to their first Stanley Cup victory in 30 years in 2012, but then lost to the Chicago Blackhawks in the finals 2 years later. This was a proven coach, a winner, but the narrative was the players had tuned him out, that he lost the locker room. And I'd wonder, what the fuck are these guys doing? They're professional athletes. They're getting paid millions of dollars. Why aren't they playing hard? This coach, did he forget how to coach? This is the same story as the Red Sox tuning out Terry Francona, the guy who won 2 World Series for Boston. The players need accountability. Every player must win their individual battles for the team to succeed. In the same way, Bacataro had Dr. Ikeda, president of the Soka Gakkai movement, in his life, but he had tuned him out. It was only after some serious self-reflection that Bacataro could see the similarity in his life, the chaos and the disorder. He was fired on August 1st, 2017. He'd gone into the hospital March 1st, got fired August 1st, 5 months to the day after he went into the hospital. Total 2 cars got fired. Yup, looking like rock bottom. But in reality, everything was becoming clear, and it was the best thing that could have happened to him. As they say, everything happens for a reason. He was fired for rolling his eyes at the vice president of human relations at Sketchy Etchy. He had been opiate-free and coke-free since March, and was really trying hard to turn his life around. He was going to counseling, but work had been a struggle without drugs. Then everything became a battle, trying to collect unemployment, going to court to fight the driving to endanger and negligent driving charges, trying to get his license back for the immediate threat confiscation. Every step was painful and challenging. He was stuck at home with no job, no car, but was drug-free. Well, that is, he was on Suboxone, an opioid blocker, and medical marijuana patient. So when I say drug-free, I mean the hard stuff. He started chanting in front of his Gohonzon and reflecting on his life and how he, nobody else, had caused it to be such a mess. He could see the parallels in his life and in Boston sports. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, or NMRK, I'm going to use Twitter shorthand, K, thanks, bye, is tattooed down the center of his back, enveloped by a green dragon. His right arm is covered in lotus symbolism. There's no escape from it. He had to face his karma and how he got here, and how he could turn it around. Fuck it, he's half Japanese, he lived a gangster lifestyle, he's proud of his heritage, fucking rock that shit. He's been making progress, a little bit forward with every turn. That's how a drill works, said Stan Marsh's tool shed in South Park, The Fractured Butthole. So, as a machinist toolmaker, I love that bit. Get it? Bit? Lol. Okay, enough of that shit. Anyway, it could always be worse. Bakatari could easily be dead. He knows this is the right thing. His buddy, BP, whose father happened to be Baka's lawyer, BP fucking gets an infection in his brain from shooting up in his neck, and he died. Seriously, his best friend died because his veins in his arms were junk, so he'd shoot directly into his neck. Please do not do this. He didn't die of an overdose, but it was the junk that killed him. You can easily get an infection that goes in your neck, right to your brain, and boom. So Bakatara counts his fortunes, and he knows how lucky he is, and he does not want to waste this opportunity to share what he knows about Buddhism. Everything happens for a reason, right? He was hoping, when he got fired in August, that he could go to the beach and hang out. The weather was never any good for the beach. He could never get a hold of Bobby, and he's really sorry that he couldn't reach him. But BP knew what he was doing. He was a grown man. His oldest daughter had graduated high school that year, and BP was getting high. He would say he was sick and tired of being sick and tired and doing that dope dance, but he passed before he could do anything about it. BP is no longer here, and he no longer has the choice to change his karma, but he will still be a bodhisattva, or one who teaches, because I hope to use his example to teach people to not shoot up in the neck. It is so dangerous. Everyone is responsible for their own actions. That's it. Whatever circumstances he might have been experiencing, he created. So whatever Bakataro was experiencing, he created. Reality is cruel and harsh sometimes. You just have to accept it and try your best. So, instead of feeling sorry for himself, Baka was appreciative and thankful every day because he knew it could always be worse. Sitting at home all day, he would listen to WEEI, the sports radio station, where radio host Kirk and Callahan would talk to Tom Brady, or Dale Arnold, Michael Hawley, and Rich Keefe would talk to Bill Belichick. And the Patriots had lost to the Chiefs that fall, and to the Panthers, and they started the season 0-2. One topic would come up with how they would put a loss in the rearview mirror and just move on. And the answers were basically, you just have to do it. You know, the wide receiver Julian Edelman, he got hurt in the preseason. He was going to be out for the year. And they just stoically deal with it and move on. There's no living in the past. And we can't replace our lost friends. And of course, I'm not trying to say put them in the rearview mirror and forget about them. But I was inspired to share this because of Bill Belichick's comments. Seemed like a very Buddhist type of approach, or at least was close enough to make these connections, and they became evident. And Baka started to see the Buddha of Belichick, but it was so much more. The karmic connections of Boston throughout history, from 2001 when the Patriots won their first Super Bowl, was the same year, unfortunately, the terror attack of 9/11 happened. The New England Patriots, a symbol of independence from the founding of our great country, were the champions. In 2013 came the Boston Marathon bombing, and Big Papi David Ortiz famously said, this is our fucking city, which gives me goosebumps when I hear that. And that tragedy may have galvanized the team, and they won the World Series that year. All the way back to the original Boston Massacre that galvanized the colonies, pretty much. And these connections through time, they are there. It's true. Buddhism is about truth and the search for the cause. It's scientific in a way. Actual proof exists, and I intend to show that these truths and give everyone who can read this an opportunity to show proof in their own lives. This whole project and what I experienced in 2017 blows my mind, and hopefully will open others' minds as well. Because there's so much turmoil in society, and it's so ridiculous how social media has invaded and taken a hold of our lives. Bakatara in the 80s, is an 80s kid, kind of born in 76, when a VCR was a luxury, and being able to watch a movie at home when I was a youngster, it was quite a treat, And I know I sound like an old man to witness this technological revolution, but now people are clamoring for the truth. Fake news is a thing, and comes right from the highest office of government. On October 8th, 2017, Vice President Mike Pence tweeted out a picture of himself and his wife at a Colts game that he proceeded to walk out of in disgust because some San Francisco 49ers took a knee during the national anthem. Except the picture he tweeted out was from a game 3 years earlier. Like, why lie? Why not just take a quick one at the current game? The VP had told the traveling press to stay in the plane because they weren't staying long. He knew he was going to stage this protest. And President Donald Trump said those sons of bitches should be fired for expressing something in a peaceful, nonviolent way. The president was attacking players for exercising their freedom of speech, and he attacks the media for being dishonest and for spreading fake news. But then the vice president does a bullshit stunt like that. So, go figure. It was a political maneuver at a sporting event on Peyton Manning Day at Lucas Oil Stadium, no less. And there have been attacks on freedom of speech, the press, and assembly. There have been white nationalist marches, basically open racists, having rallies and people losing their job for participating. I get it, don't support Nazis, but if it was gay people at a gay pride parade instead of a national pride parade, imagine gay people losing their jobs because someone outed them at a parade? That's probably never happened, right? I mean, the alt-right group, this fringe online group that helped elect the president through Pepe the Frog and other clever memes spread through Facebook. On April 19th, 2017, there was going to be a white nationalist rally in Boston, but it never manifested. Maybe like 50 people showed up for it, but they were looking for police protection because there were thousands and thousands of counter-protesters against them. Boston is not the racist city that it has the reputation for, and there's so much division in the country, and it's just being exploited by anyone who can create problems so they can profit from it. And there's so much bullshit being fed to everyone. How can you see what's really going on and what's real? Simplify. Look within, maybe. I apologize for throwing so much out there. Bakatari the drug addict, the Patriots, Bill Belichick, the marathon bombing, the president, Buddhism. This is an amazingly deep philosophy, and it encompasses all phenomena in the universe. But it's simple and practical enough to use in your daily life to become happy in the worst circumstances. I want to be able to communicate in a way that people will understand, not only in the New England area, but everyone everywhere can unlock their Buddha nature and examine life in a new way. This is a bold step in ending the opioid crisis. I hope to be relatable, but realize Bakatari is kind of a greasy dude. He was 9 when the Red Sox blew it, not just Bill Buckner, but all the Red Sox blew it against the Mets. And he's lived on Cape Cod for 40 years. He's a proud masshole. He's fucked in the head and has his problems, but, who doesn't really? He might not be able to solve all his problems, but he's trying like hell and really wants to do, all he really wants to do is help some people recover from their addiction so they can help solve their own problems. There's too many victims of this opioid epidemic. Not just the person who ODs, but their whole family, they have to deal with it. So I have this unique perspective, and I hope you'll all enjoy my presentation. I wanted first to explain Buddhism from the historical Buddha to the philosophy's discoveries and realizations through time, to what makes the Lotus Sutra so powerful and how to unlock your hidden potential. I'll talk about the nature of Buddha's behavior and the similarities to Jesus in his words and actions, not miracles, but words and actions. I want to share my mentor, Daisaku Ikeda, and his words of how his mentor, Josei Toda, and his mentor, Sunasaburo Makaguchi, stood up to the imperial Japanese government, which could have similarities to today's political climate. I'll share Mama-san's struggle to raise 4 kids on our own using Buddhism to escape the domestic violence of Bakutaro's father. It's never too late to make a change, to start making good decisions. I'll explain Bakutaro's fucked up life with brutal honesty. I want credibility. This is about the truth. And I'll try to teach you how to free yourself from the sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is amazing. I will give you the tools and show you how Bakutaro used them. What you do from there, it's up to you. I'll tell you my goal is to end the opioid crisis in New England. I'm 40 now. Imagine wiping out heroin use in 20 years, 25 years. I'd die satisfied. And maybe it'll lay the groundwork to end the crisis worldwide. It's a big window. It's a huge job. Tom Brady wants to play until he's 45. His window is much shorter. So if you set your goals really high, even if you fall short, you still might accomplish more than you thought you would. I know Bakutaro screwed up a ton, but from this moment on, that's his focus. I can write this, and hopefully this is a decent introduction and the start of something incredible. So thank you, Ikeda-sensei.